This is, in a sense, a lifetime goal. My research career has been mostly spent looking for this opportunity to exploit the algae in a way that will solve some of our problems.
When Milton Sommerfeld first came to ASU, his primary focus was marine biology. But before long, he turned his full attention to organisms that can thrive in the desert as well as the sea.
Well, algae are a very diverse group of organisms. They range from being microscopic to hundreds of feet in length and size. And they also range from being single-celled to having many cells of diverse types. So there's a lot of different types of cells when you talk about algae. They appear in just about every environment that you can think of. They appear in freshwater and seawater. They actually grow in rocks. They can be airborne and survive, grow in soil. And so they're very diverse. There are at least 40,000 species of identified algae, and probably at least that many that have not been identified yet.
Algae have flourished on Earth for over 3 billion years. Like all plants, they convert sunlight into chemical energy through photosynthesis. But while other plants rely on leaf cells to perform this task, every algal cell is photosynthetic, which makes them especially efficient energy producers. Accumulated energy is stored in the form of lipids or oils, which are of particular interest to Sommerfeld and his colleagues.
In the 1980s, there was a program sponsored by the Department of Energy that was specifically designed to look at the possibility of using algae as a source of liquid fuels. And so that program involved actually going out throughout the Southwest looking for unusual habitats, unusual algae that, number one, had oils or lipids in them and also could grow rapidly.
Because algae increase their production of oils when stressed, the researchers sought out organisms that could survive in extreme environments. They also looked for species that could reproduce 2 to 3 times within a single day.
So we collected about 1,500 strains of algae and looked at them very carefully in terms of their ability to grow rapidly and store oil. And also we're looking for algae that are tolerant to environmental conditions, so that they would grow over a broad temperature range, a broad light range, a broad salinity range, so that basically we were trying to find weedy organisms that had oil. And so of the 1,500 strains that we had isolated in our laboratory, we had about 30 that looked like they had potential for lipid production.
For the past 2 decades, the researchers have continued their search for new varieties of algae that are well suited to the production of fuels as well as other uses. These efforts have resulted in the creation of the Laboratory for Algae Research and Biotechnology at ASU's Polytechnic campus. Here, Sommerfeld and his colleagues also work on developing improved methods for growing algae in specialized tanks or bioreactors.
The effort now is trying to, in a sense, domesticate these algae so that we can grow them in engineered devices to produce high-density algal culture that we can harvest and that we can ultimately extract the oil from and process to make a variety of biofuels, including biodiesel, jet fuel, as well as gasoline.
When it comes to the design of these systems, it's not a one-size-fits-all proposition. Bioreactors must be designed specifically for each research application.
So the typical cultivation mode right now is to use open pond. But the problem of that cultivation mode is that that design can only sustain a handful of algal species to grow. So that's why we change our research focus to design a new generation for the bioreactor, which can provide those biological and environmental conditions which can support the maximum growth potential of those algae.
Not only a promising new source of fuel, algae can supply a number of other valuable products and services. These include the red pigment, which gives fish, like salmon, not only their pinkish hue, but their abundance of omega-3 fatty acids. Algae also can provide a source of protein and carbohydrate, a byproduct of lipid extraction, which can be used to feed livestock. In addition to these beneficial uses, algae are proving to be an effective partner in pollution control efforts.
Algae are organisms that grow very rapidly under the right conditions. And they require sunlight, they require carbon dioxide, and they require certain nutrients, most notably nitrogen and phosphorus. And these compounds, or these elements, are typically contaminants in our air or our water. And so, since the algae need them anyway to grow, why not couple those things?
By running the wastewater through the bioreactors, the researchers are able to successfully clean the water while nourishing the algal biomass.
We've worked with irrigation return waters that are high in nutrients off of farm fields. We've looked at groundwaters that are contaminated with nitrates, and also domestic and cattle feeding operation wastewaters, and found that it's a great source of nutrients for the algae. And we've taken flue gases, carbon dioxide, and the same thing. This will support rapid algal growth. The carbon that's coming out of carbon dioxide, again, is the carbon that we now have in our biodiesel, our biofuels.
Long considered little more than a nuisance by many, algae are proving to be a versatile resource and a valuable commodity, whose tantalizing promise offers researchers many more opportunities to investigate.
I don't think we know the full potential of the algae, because the amount of effort that's gone into aquaculture for various bioproducts has been pretty limited. And I think what we're seeing now is the realization that they have a lot of potential because they are fast growing. They can be grown in large quantities. They can use waste materials to do that. So we're using things that we don't want anyway and incorporating it and producing a product. And so I think that you will see in the next decade considerable effort to exploit different aspects of the algae, because if you can clean up the environment while you can produce a product that has value, and you can solve an energy, or at least partially solve an energy crisis or problem, then we ought to look at it pretty closely.